I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, putting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target! Get some PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, putting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target! Get some PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
I'm muted. I'm unmuted now. Welcome, everybody. Oh, shoot. You know what we need? We need green lights. Where are my green lights? There we go. Guys, this might be the first 420 show. The show landed on 420. And I'm not even stoned. I don't even got no dang pot. Today we're going to be talking about the potheads. It's the 420 show. We're going to talk about the history of 420. Some famous Austrian painter's birthday we're celebrating, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's what we're doing. We're celebrating some Austrian guy's birthday. I don't know. We're going to talk about the history of 420. We're going to talk about drugs. Ibogaine. Trump signs a bill with Joe Rogan. I don't think he's very happy with Joe Rogan lately. He didn't look too happy. He was like, well, Joe's behind me. Good job, Joe. And he kind of rolls his eyes. Because Joe's been talking that trash on Trump. Ibogaine. Drugs. Hallucinogens. Witch doctor stuff to cure all your ailments, every problem you ever had, your depression, your PTSD, your drug addiction. It can all be cured with another drug. We'll talk about that. What else? Katy Perry, the first woman, Me Too. Maybe not. I don't know. You could probably think of some other ones, but they're probably lesbians. But we got a Katy Perry Me Too. Dude, this story's crazy. I don't want to spoil it, but if you don't know the details of what Katy Perry allegedly did to this girl 20 years ago, then it's pretty funny. The devil's lettuce. I know I have a bunch of this shirt is like probably 8 years old. And I don't think I've ever washed it actually. I think I've worn it like 3 times. I got it when I was a pothead. And I wore it a couple times. And then I was like, kind of got away from the pot. You know, I'll still dabble every now and then. But it's not like I'm not like a pothead anymore. I'm not always gotta have some pot. So I never wear the shirt. So now all these shirts, I got like 4 pot shirts in my closet that I never wear. So I don't want to be walking around out in public with this on. What was I thinking? So I'm only wearing it on the show. I'm not high. I don't have no pot on this 420. I'm just wearing it because it's the 420 show. We're not even smoking pot. Okay, so I'm also not gonna be. It's gonna seem like I know from the thumbnail and from the shirt. It's gonna seem like I'm promoting pot. Not really. We're gonna actually be anti-promoting pot. I'm gonna show you why if you're celebrating 420, you're celebrating Hitler's birthday. Never washed it. Sounds like a hippie to me. No, it's because it's not dirty. Because I'm not dirty. I'm not a dirty hippie. Never that. What else do we got? A little bit of Iran updates. We've been Iran'd out. Dude, I ran out of Iran ideas. Kind of Iran'd out. So we'll speed through those. We got a lot of rapid fire news, a lot of little news stories this week. Nothing too crazy, nothing too big going on. Are you sure your eyes are a little glossy? That's because I just woke up. It's because I just woke up and I'm on like 5 hours of sleep. But yes, I'm sure. No pot today. Okay. Yeah, a lot of rapid fire news stories, a lot of little stories. We got stuff about the dog breed. They tried to raid a beagle facility, a beagle test facility. We talked about some of these stories we talked about the other night on Saturday. But we're going to run through them again today and like read the news articles and stuff. Tyler Robinson in court for trial for the Charlie Kirk assassination trial. Some guy climbed on the Sphere in Vegas. Now they're saying they think it's Alex Honnold recording a movie. I don't know. We're not sure who it was. Somebody climbed up on the Vegas Sphere. Sphere. And then singer David. Dude, I didn't really look into this story before the show, but I was watching a thing right before it started. I thought like, I don't know, maybe there was like a lover's quarrel and he just killed somebody. No, this dude had body parts chopped up in the trunk of his Tesla, which got impounded. How do you get your car impounded when you got bodies in it? That's crazy. So that's the plan for today. We need to just go right ahead and get into it. All right. Let me close this. So where are we starting? We're starting with 420. It's 420 today, guys. May 20th. 420. The day where everybody smokes a whole bunch of pot. But they're potheads. So they smoke a whole bunch of pot every day. But they always got to smoke at 420. That was always so dumb to me when I was a pothead. It'd be like, we smoked at 3:30. We smoked at 2. We smoked at noon. We smoked at 10:45. And we smoked at 8 when we woke up. And then 420 hits. It's like, we got to smoke. It's like, bro, we're smoking all day. We've been smoking all day. What are you talking about? Why is this time is special? We just smoked at 3:30. We got to smoke again at 420 just because it's 420. We smoked at 418. And we got to smoke. We finished smoking at 418. Now it's 420. We got to start again because it's 420. Everybody's like, every day, 420. We got to light up, Brett. Bro, you've been smoking all day. 420. The time, the date is a number notorious amongst the pothead community. Pothead. I wish I had JLP on my soundboard going, pothead. Don't punch me. What? So, 420. How did this day come to be? Well, it started with a bunch of kids. You know how they have see you at the flagpole? Christians in America, public school campuses all over America once a year. They have I don't know if they do this everywhere, but they did it in Florida. They have see you at the flagpole day, where everybody meets around the flagpole. All the Christians meet around the flagpole before school starts, and they all hold hands and they pray at the flagpole. And you do this every year. Well, similar to that, a bunch of potheads would meet up and skip school and smoke some pot. What's up, Carlos? Thursday marks marijuana culture's high holiday, 420. This is from Guardian. Or no, this is from pbs.org. When cannabis fans gather in clouds of smoke at music festivals, celebrate with all-you-can deals on chicken wings and other munchies. Yo, where they got these deals at? I didn't know about that. They got all-you-can-eat chicken wing day on 420? Where they do that at? Shoot. Not a smoker, but recognizing the holiday. Yes. Yes, pretty much. So I'm occasional. I'm a dabbler. Okay. This year's edition provides an occasion for activists to reflect on how far their movement has. It's a movement. This is an activist movement. Oh yeah, because I guess it's like, we got pot legalized. Yeah, it's working out great. Of course, everybody's high. Smoking pot's not even cool anymore because your grandma is buying pre-rolls at the corner store. It's not cool anymore. It's not cool when grandma is smoking joints with you. It's like, does that mean trying to hang out with grandma? I'm copping trees from Granny. What's going on here? Granny cookies now got dang edibles in them. We got edible grandma cookies. Here is the designated driver. So I'm just wondering where they do the free wings at, or where the all-you-can-eat wing deal is. Recreational pot now allowed in 21 states and the nation's capital, as well as a national political climate that hasn't moved as quickly on legalization as many expected. If you know me, you know I'm not a fan of pot legalization. I've heard a good argument that recreational is actually better than medical if you're going to do it at all. I'd rather they don't legalize it at all. But if you're going to legalize it, recreational is better than medical because medical has tricked people into thinking that pot cures stuff. It doesn't. Pot does not have any opioid blockers or any opioid receptor inhibitors or anything like that. There's nothing like that in marijuana. There is no pain relieving properties to marijuana. This is a scientific fact. But all the potheads get so mad at me when I say that. Yes, it does. It cured my back pain, bro. No, you just got high. The only thing that pot cures is not being high. That's what it cures. And when you're high, if it's cold outside, it's not so cold anymore. If it's hot outside, it's not so hot anymore. If your back hurts, you don't think about your back hurting as much because you're high. But it's not helping you. It's not curing your back pain. It's not. Now, there is stuff like Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web is a special strain of marijuana with a certain ratio to CBD to THC so that it doesn't get you high. If the CBD, I forget the ratio, but if it's a certain ratio of CBD to THC, it won't get you high. but it can have some medical properties. Like it can help with kids with epileptic seizures. They'll say it'll help cancer patients. Well, how does it help cancer patients? Glaucoma people with glaucoma, people on chemo, things like that. What does it cure in them? Nothing. It just gives them the munchies and they can't eat. So they eat. That's it. So it's not curing anything. The only thing that it does cure is the dang seizures in the kids. So that's cool. If you've ever seen the Charlotte's Web, and it's not like that, you're not giving your 3-year-old who has seizures a blunt. You know, he's not sitting there smoking a blunt looking like Thug Life, baby. You put drops. It's these little drops. You drop it in their mouth and rub it on in their lips, and they come out of their seizure. You're not getting your kids high. Okay, so if they can isolate an isotope in the chemical compound of marijuana and figure out, okay, this will help with this, and we're going to use it specifically for that. Okay, I see the medical advantages of something like that. But when you legalize it medically and it's sold, that's not a real prescription, okay? That's not a real doctor who's prescribing you to it. You go to somebody who gives you a referral piece of paper, and then you take that to the smoke shop. You didn't actually just get a prescription for anything. You just got a referral by some pothead at a store who sends you to another store so another pothead could sell you some pot. But people think chemo patients need it. My dad was on chemo. He tried it. He didn't like it. They don't need it. They want it because it gives them the munchies so they can eat. That's about it. Glaucoma patients, it relieves pressure in their eyes, so their eyes don't hurt. That's about it. That's about it. But now we got people thinking pot, which is known to increase anxiety. We got people with anxiety smoking pot for their anxiety. What do you expect? We're talking about potheads. Of course they're going to say something retarded like that. We got people, pot makes schizophrenia worse. People with schizophrenia get worse on pot. We got schizophrenics saying pot helps my schizophrenia. No, it doesn't. No, it's making it worse. I've watched it happen. I've seen people who definitely, shouldn't be, their brain ain't in the right place for them to be smoking pot. And they're smoking pot. And I'm like, that's going to make you start freaking out like it always does. And then surely they start having a manic episode because they just smoked a blunt and they're schizophrenic. It's no bueno. But then the medical place will, my back hurts, pot. I'm depressed, pot. I got anxiety, pot. I'm hungry. I'm not hungry. No, I'm not hungry. Pot. It's cold outside. Pot. Nice shirt. Thank you. So, but I don't even know if 420 originally started as an activist movement to get pot legalized. It just started as a bunch of potheads hanging out smoking pot. Let's see what PBS says, though. The origins of the date and term 420 generally were long murky. Some claim it referred to a police code for marijuana possession or that it arose from Bob Dylan's Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35, with its refrain of, everybody must get stoned. 420 being the product of 12 times 35. 12 times 30. What? These people are not mathematicians. They're not numerologists. I don't know. But a consensus has emerged that it started with a group of bell-bottomed buddies from San Rafael High School in California who called themselves the Waldos. A friend's brother was afraid of getting busted for a patch of cannabis he was growing in the woods at Point Reyes, so he drew a map and gave the teens permission to harvest the crop. During the fall of 1971 at 4:20 p.m., just after classes and football practice, the group would meet up at the school statue of chemist Louis Pasteur, smoke a joint, and head out to search for the weed patch. They never did find it, but their private lexicon, 420 Louis, and later just 420, would take on a life of its own. The Waldos saved postmarked letters and other artifacts from the 1970s referencing 420, which they later kept in a bank vault. Holy crap, is it that important? And when the Oxford English Dictionary added the term in 2017, the Oxford Dictionary added 420. That's not even a word, it's numbers. And it's in the dictionary? There's so many good songs about it. I know the sails of the Mayflower were made out of hemp, and the Declaration of Independence was written on hemp, allegedly. And I guess Thomas Jefferson had a giant weed crop, as the story goes, amongst the pothead community. I don't know if any of that's true. I've never fact checked it, but that's what the potheads will tell you. Fast forward to the early 1990s, Steve Bloom, a reporter for the cannabis magazine High Times, was at a Dead show when he was handed a flyer urging people to meet at 420 on 420 for 420 Inc. Meet at 420 on 420 for 420 Inc. in Marion County at the Bolinas Ridge Sunset Spot on Mount Tamalpais. High Times published it. It's a phenomenon, one of the Waldos, Steve Capper, once reflected. Most things die within a couple years, but this just goes on and on and on. It's not like someday somebody's going to say, okay, Cannabis New Year's is on June 23rd now. Capper went on to become a chief executive at a payroll financing company in San Francisco. Oh, wow. Bloom, who became editor-in-chief of Freedom Leaf magazine, noted in a 2017 interview that while the Waldos came up with the term, the people who made the flyer and effectively turned 420 into a holiday remain unknown. How is it celebrated? With weed. You smoke a lot of weed. One movie theater is offering a dank double feature with Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke, as well as 1930s Reefer Madness. It's a reefer. Era cult classic, Assassin of Youth. I've seen all of those except for that. I've never heard of that. Assassin of Youth in Boston. A pottery party is offering participants a chance to make their own pipe. We're making pipes at the Pottery Barn. Wow. Pot shops are offering discounts, and several music festivals are planned throughout the weekend, including one, the Smoky River Entertainment District in Missouri, which launched recreational sales in February. Some breweries make 420-themed beers. Lagunitas Brewing in Petaluma, California, releases its Waldo's Special Ale every year on 420. Politics, they're trying to get weed legalized. 38 states have okayed medicinal use. Last October, President Joe Biden announced full pardons for prior federal offenses of simple marijuana possession and urged governors to do the same in their states. That's bullshit, by the way. Okay? These people, everybody's like, oh, you're getting life in jail for a joint. No, they pled down to the joint because they probably had warrants, guns in their car, were wanted for violent crimes. And instead of taking a higher charge with the same penalty, they plead down and take a higher penalty on a lesser charge. So when they get out of prison, all they got is pot possession on their record, but they did the maximum sentence on the pot crime because they were pleading down out of their bigger charges so they don't have a felony assault or burglary or, whatever else on their record. That's why people were serving so much time for pot offenses, or they're multiple time offenders, or they're dealers. But they say, oh, they just had a joint and they got 20 years. Shut up, stupid. That's dumb. If you believe that, I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. But we just release them all. Oh yeah, that's an old story, Rev. I don't know what that has to do with 420 though. Speaking of 420, that is something totally irrelevant to 420. Because she must be high. I get it. Okay. She must be high. Yeah, Candace Owens thought Charlie Kirk was clairvoyant. Clearly smoking the derbs. Activists this week urged Biden to remove cannabis from the Controlled Substance Act. This must be an old article. Take steps to undo the harm caused by the drug war to communities of color. Whenever you hear about how the drug war didn't work, there's always going to be a reference to the civil rights movement, racism, black youths being locked up in mass numbers because of this drug war. The drug war was unsuccessful because it was racist. No, that's stupid. That's dumb. Don't believe it. Okay. Biden pardons thousands convicted on federal marijuana charges. What's Time magazine saying? Here's the real reason Americans associate 420 with weed. I think they're just going to run through the same story. Most credible 420 American 5 students would meet at 420 at the statue, the Waldos. Okay, same thing. Same thing, yeah. So that's basically the accepted story of the origins of pot. But do you think they knew? Do you think they knew this right here? You know whose birthday was 420? That guy. This guy. Jadolf Hitler. Schmadolf Schmittler. I'll say his name. Adolf Hitler. His birthday. Look at that. When was Adolf Hitler born? April 20th, 1989. 420. That's really what they're doing. Bunch of Yahtzees out here smoking the herb on Hitler's birthday. Bunch of potheads get together to celebrate Mustache Man. Who dat? That's Jadolf Hitler. Let's watch a video about pot. Let's see what these potheads are up to. Brute America, the story of 420. Look at that giant joint. What the?
On April 20th, pot smokers across the U.S. will be lighting up a joint to celebrate their favorite holiday, 420. The number 420 has become a widely known code for cannabis or cannabis smoking.
We gotta go.
420! What the heck?
I'm sorry, we got a meeting.
But the true
We gotta go. We got a meeting. 420, we gotta go smoke a joint. We have 60 seconds to light up.
origin of 420 has always been the source of debate, and a few theories have emerged over the years.
I'm jamming out to this dang hippie music, though.
Some believe 420 was a radio code police used for cannabis violations in New York City and Los Angeles. In reality,
Wouldn't it? Okay, yeah. In reality, it was never used as a police code. I was going to say, wouldn't it be easy to fact check this to see if it was actually a code used for pot? Of course it wasn't. These are potheads we're talking about. They just made this up. They don't know what they're talking about.
420 was never a police code used for weed smoking in either of those cities.
420 is the number of chemical compounds found in weed? No, that's not true either.
That would make sense as an origin story, except for the fact that cannabis has over 500 chemical compounds. The most well-known compound is THC.
You see this picture right here? So for medical marijuana, what they have to do to actually have it have a medical use, they have to figure out what every one of these 500 plus chemical compounds, they have to isolate it, and they have to figure out exactly what it does and exactly how it affects your body at exactly what dose. So for each one of these things, they have to do extensive tests, and they have to isolate each one and figure out what it does before they could actually put this out as a prescription medication, because there's really no way to properly dose it and quantify exactly what it's doing to your body, because maybe this little thing right here helps with headaches. And they figure out, okay, this one helps with headaches. But what about all these ones? What about the other 499 chemical compounds? Well, we don't quite know what they do yet. We're still working on it. But we're going to say that it's medicinal for your headaches. But then what happens if this one over here actually increases headaches? Well, we don't know that yet. But we're going to give you it for your headaches because this one right here helps headaches. But all these ones do other things to mess you up even worse. That's why it's not actually a medicinal, it's not a legit pharmaceutical. It's just a plant, and they're like, oh, it kind of makes some people's headaches go away. So I guess we could say it cures headaches because this one right here. But that's how they figured out that Charlotte's Web could help with seizures, because one of these chemical compounds will help with epileptic seizures. So what they do is they make a strain that specifically focuses on that one. Then they make it down into a form where, like a what's it called? A tonic, or a what's the word where it like absorbs sublingually. Anyway, they make it like sublingually administered, which means through the skin of your mouth, the inside of your mouth, it soaks into your tongue and your gums. They make it in that form, and they focus on that one chemical compound that helps with seizures, and then they can drop it in small kids, like infants. They just rub a little bit in their mouth, and they're not having a seizure anymore. And it's pretty impressive, because I've seen videos of, like, I've played them on the show, of kids like really season out, and they rub it on, and like instantly they're just like, huh. They're just back down to earth. Tincture, yes, that's what I was thinking of. So if they can do that, if you can figure out exactly what compound does what, and then you can isolate that and focus just on that, but then guess what? We're not talking about pot anymore now, are we? We're talking about a medicine with one chemical compound that's found in pot that's being utilized to have an effect on somebody. You're not just giving them a blunt to smoke. And this right here is the problem of why it's not actually a pharmaceutical medicine. It's just it's a cure-all, because it makes you high. And when you're high, you don't worry about stuff as much. You don't focus on things as much. So maybe you're not focusing on your back pain anymore. You're thinking about how the heck Saturn has rings. Where do the rings of Saturn come from? Instead of thinking about your back pain, you're thinking about outer space and aliens.
The cannabinoid responsible for the high people get after consumption. Bob Dylan has a song called Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35. And because 12 times 35 equals 420, many have taken that to mean that the code number originated.
It'd be so funny if we did the math and it was not 420. Like, you dumbasses, it doesn't even equal 420, but it does.
With Bob Dylan.
They know simple math.
The song's lyrics also reference weed smoking.
Everybody must get stoned.
This theory is easy to debunk because the best time period to plant cannabis varies from country to country or even from city to city.
Oh, they said 420 is the best time of the year to plant your pot? Yeah, that's not true. What if I have an indoor grow? 420 is the first time this scientist dropped acid? Oh, so it's not just a pothead holiday. It's a dirty, hippie, acid trippy holiday also.
According to his lab notes, Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann, the father of LSD, or what's commonly known as acid, first consumed the drug at 4:20 p.m. And some believe that the time of his drug use could be related to 420, but that's just a coincidence. LSD actually has its own unofficial holiday on April 19th to commemorate Hoffman's first acid.
Oh, God. I didn't even know that. Well, we just learned something new today. So yesterday was acid trip day. And then today is pot recovery day, when you need to recover from your acid trip, so you smoke pot on 420. I was tripping balls all day yesterday, so today I'm going to smoke a joint to come down.
Acid trip.
This is the theory that pretty much probably is most likely true. This is the reason right here, like we were talking about earlier. Bunch of stoners in California.
The most credible backstory to the Code 420 is that back in 1971, a group of high schoolers in California who called themselves the Waldos would meet up at 4:20 p.m. to smoke. And they used the code 420 as a way to remind each other of their after-school plans without alerting those around them.
We could say 420 is our secret code in front of our parents, cops, teachers, everybody. And nobody knew what it was, and it was our little private joke.
It's not a little private joke anymore, buddy. Everybody knows what it means now.
In interviews, the Waldos have said that they would meet at 420, smoke, and go searching for a crop of cannabis that they heard was left behind by a Coast Guard service member in a nearby town. They never did end up finding the hidden treasure, but the Waldos, who have now been friends for over 50 years, coined a phrase that was spread across their high school, their colleges, and eventually the whole country.
That's a big old joint right there. That's a damn jaunt. Wow. 420. So happy 420, everybody. You know, if you smoke them, if you got them, if you're going to get high, now's the day. Speaking of drugs, Trump signs executive order directing FDA to review psychedelics designated as breakthrough therapy drugs. What drug are we talking about specifically here? We're talking about a little thing called Ibogaine. Similar to ayahuasca, DMT. It's some like Native American tribal plant that they eat, and they all start going, hunka baka, hunka baka, hunka baka, ooh. And they all start going to outer space, opening up portals for demons, thinking that they're talking to God and having the ego death, when really all you did was get yourself possessed by demons. God bless the pothead. Executive order implements historic reforms to dramatically accelerate access to new medical research and treatments based on psychedelic drugs, Trump says. He signed an executive order on Saturday that says he directs the FDA to expedite their review of certain psychedelics already designated as breakthrough therapy drugs. The executive order I'm signing, we're actually signing the executive order today, is really a moment, Trump said. These treatments are currently in the advanced stages of clinical trials to ensure that they're both safe and effective for the American patients. The president said the executive order would implement historic reforms to dramatically accelerate access to new medical research. So it's Ibogaine. We watched this whole thing the other day. We're not going to watch the whole thing again. I wish I would have clipped the part where he's talking about SSRIs and how antidepressants only work for 20 to 30% of people who take them. And he's like, so these antidepressants, do they work? And some random lady in the audience is like, no, they don't. And he's like, what? She said, I'm on a bunch of them. They don't work. Some random lady in the press is on like 18 SSRIs, and she just yells out randomly, they don't work. I'm still depressed, but she sounded happy. She's like, they don't work. Huh? I'm on a bunch of them. She said, I'm on a bunch of them. And Trump looks at her like, wow, how many drugs are you on right now? Happy 420. I sent you some pictures on Discord. Some pot pictures.
They're illegal because of the 1970s.
And Joe Rogan was there. Now, Joe Rogan has been on a little bit of a tear, kind of talking trash on Trump. And you can see Trump doesn't look so happy to have Joe there behind him.
Controlled Substances Act that was passed by the Richard Nixon administration. They did
Here we go. Drugs aren't the problem. The problem is that we made drugs illegal. It was racist.
it to target the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement. It's not because these drugs harm people. And for 56 years, we've lived under those terrible conditions. We're free of that now. We're free of that now. Thanks to all these people that we see next to me, and thanks to President Trump.
What up, guys?
Max Holloway. Sorry, we got to add.
We all respect Joe, and he's a little bit more liberal than. That's okay.
He had to take a shot at him. He had to take a shot at him because you could tell Trump does not like when the people who helped him get elected and are loyal to him, when they turn on him. He'll turn on them too. You're cut off. And now Joe's there and he's kind of rolling his eyes and he's like, all right, well, thanks, Joe. We all respect you, Joe. He's a bit of a liberal. Of course, we don't like the liberals, but Joe, he's all right, but he's a bit of a liberal. He had to take a shot at Joe. That's so funny.
I have a lot of friends that are liberal, but Joe is an amazing guy, and he wrote me a little note about this, and I had it checked out. I didn't just do it. I had it checked out. I went to Bobby and Oz. I went to some of the people that work for you, Real Pros, and everybody came back with the same answer. You know, normally they'll come back, because this happens a lot. I have a couple of them like that where they're not sure. It's like
Joe had a he was like a Navy SEAL or something on his show who took Ibogaine, went to Mexico and took Ibogaine, and he tells the story, and the story sounds horrific. Like, even Joe's like, wait, are you saying that this is a good thing? And the guy's like, yeah, it is a good thing. It helped me. But then he tells the story of when he did the Ibogaine, and it's like a horror story. He's like, it was a dark, dark place, and I had an ego death, and I had to fight with my ego for 12 hours. And I came out of it feeling miserable about myself and feeling like nothing mattered and blah, blah, blah. And Joe's like, are you saying that this is a good thing? And the guy's like, yeah, it's a good thing. Okay. Keep going with the story. And then the guy says, yeah, it was real bad after I took the Ibogaine. So the next day we took some DMT, and then that made it all better. Okay, so wait. Is it the Ibogaine that lets you have the ego death and lets you be cured of all your addictions and all your depression and all your PTSD? Or is it doing Ibogaine and then you have to do DMT after you do the Ibogaine the next day? To come down off the Ibogaine, you need some DMT. Because the story didn't sound like a happy story. It sounded like he was miserable. He said he was puking all night and fighting with himself in his mind all night.
you know, it goes two ways.
But
This thing, everybody thought it was incredible. And I told Bobby, I said, Bobby, let's just do it and get Oz involved, and it's going to get done so quickly. And everybody else, you guys okay? Everybody?
And other locations that help us understand why these new treatments work and who they'll be most effective for. So with your mandate, we are in a position to really accelerate saving lives of many more people and getting them well sooner. And I believe that with this,
for us, we have a mechanism of creating models.
I'm trying to find where the lady says, I can't remember where it is, but so Ibogaine is the drug we're talking about. Historic reforms to dramatically accelerate access. These experimental treatments have shown life-changing potential for those suffering from severe mental illness and depression, including our cherished veterans, Trump said, citing the veteran suicide rate. So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about this. If it works and if it's protected and you have to go through a certain process to get it, you know, maybe it's all right. But I've talked about ketamine before and mushrooms and how they've normalized ketamine and mushrooms as depression treatments now. Microdosing psilocybin is now a depression treatment. And ketamine. Injected ketamine, a dissociative, is going to cure your depression. Yeah, it's a dissociative. It basically dissociates you from reality. That's why it helps your depression, because you're not in reality anymore. I think they're opening up portals to demons. But I want to show you what Ibogaine. Let's watch something about Ibogaine, because that's specifically the drug we're talking about here. But other drugs as well. I'm just not a fan of drugs in general. Using drugs to cure mental illness, which is a fake made-up term, by the way. Illness is a physical condition. Mental is of the mind. It's metaphysical. It's your mind. We don't even know how the mind works. It's not about brain chemistry. It's not about the structure of your brain. It's not about neural pathways. This isn't neurotherapy. This isn't neuropathy. This isn't neuroscience. This isn't about the physical makeup or structure or chemical compounds within your brain. It's mental. It's just, it feels good. It feels good, so it makes me feel better, so I like it. What was I just about to say? Yeah, it's I was saying illness is a physical thing. It's something when you're ill, when you're sick, this is a physical condition. Mental illness is actually a spiritual ailment. It has nothing to do with anything physical. It's not an illness. It's a misnomer. A guy named Thomas Saz, who was a doctor in psychology and psychotherapy, wrote a book called The Myth of Mental Illness. His whole argument, as a guy who was a doctor in psychology and in psychiatry specifically, he was a psychiatrist, which is basically psychology is the gateway to psychiatry. So it starts with cognitive behavioral therapy and talking to people about their problems and things like that. And then you move up a level to the medications. That's the psychiatry. This guy was a doctor in psychiatry, and he wrote a book called The Myth of Mental Illness. And the whole book is about how mental illness is a misnomer. There's no such thing as a mental illness. And this is a decorated psychiatrist saying there's no such thing as mental illness. And I've read the book. I debated it with James Life Talk. Anybody else wants to do a debate about it, we can do it. Because it's one of my favorite topics, is about how psychology is pseudoscience and psychiatry is just a bunch of pill pushers who want to make money off of people and keep them locked into a perpetual cycle of dependence on the psychiatric community. But yeah, it's a pretty good book. The whole book is about how really the best way to cure these mental illnesses is by talking to people and understanding them and listening to them, spending time with them, which is something that many of them should have had from their parents, but their parents didn't do it. And while we see more mental illness, well, it's because kids are getting raised by public school teachers. They're not having conversations with their parents. We're not going and sitting down at a family dinner anymore and talking with our family and talking about our day with our parents. Parents aren't guiding the kids. They're throwing a tablet at them and sending them off to school from the time they're 2 years old until the time they're 30. Then they go off to college and they get locked in perpetual adolescence. And they don't grow up. They don't communicate properly with people. So, of course, they have mental illnesses. No, there's no such thing as a mental illness. It's a misnomer. Pseudoscience, fake science. But let's look at Ibogaine. See what this is doing. What's up with this Ibogaine stuff? Annual opioid overdose deaths. 20,000 opioid deaths per year.
Opioid crisis has defied standard treatments, but deep in the shadows of modern medicine lies a radical but effective
Speaking of mental illness, Marilyn, what's up?
alternative. Ibogaine is a powerful psychedelic often described as miraculous by those who've tried it because of its remarkable ability to erase years of addiction and the agony of withdrawal in just one harrowing session.
It is a revolutionary breakthrough.
I don't understand how it's going to stop withdrawal, because withdrawal is not a mental thing. Opioid withdrawal specifically is a physical thing. It has to do with your opioid receptors, your pain receptors. The heroin fills your opioid receptors, and your brain gets accustomed to having that opiate in your opioid receptor. And when you take that away, there's a void there, and your brain is searching for it. Your brain is searching your body for that thing that fills those opioid receptors, and it's not there anymore. And so your skin crawls, it's bugs. Withdrawals are one of the worst things you could ever experience. Heroin withdrawals are not fun, okay? There's something called precipitated withdrawals. Precipitated withdrawals is where if you do something like a Suboxone, when your Suboxone is an opioid blocker, whereas methadone is an opioid. So methadone is basically like heroin, but with a longer half-life. So it lasts longer and it's less intense, and it actually fills your opioid receptors with opioids. So basically, you're just replacing the heroin with a weaker opiate that lasts longer so that you can stabilize throughout the day. Whereas like buprenorphine or Suboxone or naloxone, they are opioid blockers. They block the opioid receptor so that nothing can get in. So if you do a bupe and then you do some heroin, it won't work. It won't get you high. But there's something there in the opioid receptor, so it makes you think that you're on an opiate, but you're not. And then you can't get high no more. So those are the two different ways that people, combat heroin addiction and heroin withdrawals, is either an opioid blocker or a weaker opioid. Well, oh shoot, now my camera's following me. Come on, camera. What are you doing? Okay. Shoot, where was I going with that? Withdrawals, precipitated withdrawals. Precipitated withdrawals, I don't want to tell, I'll tell this story. So like a Suboxone, an opioid blocker, is it's usually sublingually taken. It's a strip, you put it under your tongue and you let it sit there and it absorbs into your mouth. And that's how you take it. But you could put that strip into a spoon. Don't do this. This is not advice, but I'm just saying it is possible to basically intravenously take bupe, where you hit yourself with it. When you do that, if you're a regular opiate user and you do that and it hits you like that, what happens is all your withdrawal symptoms, which usually take like a month to go through all the withdrawals, all of them hit you at the same time, very intense. All your withdrawal symptoms hit you at the same time. I went through this one time because I didn't know that this would happen. And basically, almost instantly after I did it, I jumped out of bed, ran to the toilet, and started violently expelling everything in my body out of both of my ends at the same time. Both ends were violently going at the same time for about 30 minutes. And then after that, I was dying for another hour. That's precipitated withdrawals. It's not fun. It's not fun. But anyway, my point is, how does this Ibogaine do anything to affect your opioid receptors? Is it like pot, where it doesn't actually cure the withdrawals, but it makes you forget about the withdrawals or something? I don't understand how this can be a cure for withdrawals. Why don't you just get hypnotized?
The success rate is staggering.
But Ibogaine remains illegal in the US, in part because it can be deadly. Despite the risks, thousands of desperate Americans addicted to opioids are
It can be deadly. Side effects may include death.
crossing borders to find hope in the treatment.
I'm going to die a slow, miserable death from doing drugs anyways. So I would rather, whether it's a short or long life, live it not on drugs anymore.
Ibogaine is a naturally occurring psychoactive compound.
Dude, that doctor's office looked like an opioid den. They're like laying there and they're like, ugh. I wouldn't want to be doing that in a room with a bunch of people doing that.
Extracted from the root bark of a shrub, Tabernanthe iboga. For centuries, it's been used in ceremonies in West Africa by followers of the Bwiti spiritual practice. Ibogaine's potential to treat opioid addiction was discovered by accident in 1962.
They're like, these people are never depressed. They're doing ibogaine and ayahuasca and stuff all the time. They're never depressed. Maybe it's a cure for depression. They don't get depressed because they don't have time to be depressed. They're fighting lions in the Serengeti. That's why they're not depressed. We're only depressed because we're lazy and comfortable with being lazy. You have time to be depressed. Men should never have time to be depressed or bored. But because we used to have to hunt and gather and fight lions. Now we're out here playing video games and we're bored.
When 19-year-old Howard Lotzoff, who was addicted to heroin, took the drug and found that it stopped both his cravings and withdrawals. Word spread. Today, Ibogaine is off.
I just don't know about that. I don't know. That seems crazy to me that it can stop withdrawals. If it's true, then I'll say if this can truly stop your addiction and stop your withdrawals, then I'll say okay. Because I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. If there's something you can use that can help you get off of fent and heroin and stuff like that, then do it. And it doesn't seem like people become dependent on this stuff. It doesn't seem like the type of drug that you just want to do recreationally every day. Everybody who does it, it's like, no, it's not fun. It's not fun. The ego death is not fun. And allegedly, that's what happens when you take it. So if it works for that, then okay, I'm fine with it being used for that. As far as depression and PTSD and all that stuff, I don't know, man. I think taking some drug, some miracle drug that's supposed to heal your mental illness, maybe isn't the way to go. Maybe you need to look at yourself and drop your anger, forgive your mama, and let go of that spiritual trauma that you have. Overcome it instead of trying to cover it up with some drugs. But as far as the opioid treatment, if it's true that this can miraculously stop withdrawals, then I'm all right with it. As long as it's controlled. We're not selling kids Ibogaine at school.
At a small but growing number of clinics around the world. Because Ibogaine treatment exists largely outside mainstream medicine, the medical subculture surrounding it has been described as a vast, uncontrolled experiment. In the US, Ibogaine is classified as a Schedule I narcotic, alongside
a vast, uncontrolled experiment and a bunch of self-reporting. A bunch of people saying, yeah, it worked for me. It was miraculous. I don't know.
Heroin, with no accepted medical use. But in countries like...
But this also doesn't mean necessarily that now Ibogaine is going to be flooding the streets. This bill is going to allow scientists to do testings on it because when it's a Schedule I, it's hard for scientists to run experiments with it and get clearance to test it and do science projects and stuff with it. Once this bill is going to make it easier for scientists to activate it, access it and test it and do experiments and figure out exactly what's happening here. So I'm not big mad at this bill. I'm just, in general, I'm kind of against this sort of thing, but I can make exceptions.
Mexico and Brazil, clinics operate legally under varying regulations. One of the most prominent clinics, Ambio Life Sciences, is located in Tijuana, Mexico.
Base 44 super
Oh,
agents.
great. Oh, shoot. Great. We got Mexican Tijuana Ibogaine facilities.
And they are really at their wits' end. Ibogaine is generally the final option for a lot of people.
So you're doing treatment, what, tomorrow?
From the sounds of it, yeah.
Ambio offers medically supervised Ibogaine treatments tailored to each patient. One of those patients is Kyle DiDamaso, a 35-year-old mechanic from California who's battled opioid addiction for 2 decades.
I'm assuming I can't remember much about my childhood because I've done drugs since I was 15 years old.
After high school, Kyle joined the Marines.
That is a downside of doing drugs since you're at a young age. You kind of have a lot of holes in your memory.
In hopes of turning his life around.
I got whole chunks of my life that I don't know what happened.
But once he returned, he started using again, and more heavily. After multiple stints in rehab, Kyle decided to try Ibogaine after hearing about its effects on a podcast.
Ibogaine represents something different.
Which podcast do you think it is? Let's take a wild guess. Which podcast was he watching? Take a wild guess.
I'm not saying that Ibogaine is going to cure me of my drug addiction, but it might give me a new chance to not do drugs again.
Before the Ibogaine begins to work, Ambio's medical practitioners and staff.
See, they even make it like a weird ritual sound. This is a doctor's office. Looks like a drug retreat. They're doing like burning incense. It's like a ritualistic practice, like a religious experience. That's why I think it's you're probably opening gateways to demons.
Held a short ceremony.
Stuff like this is what fuels the mushroom Jesus and stuff. That, oh, the way we access heaven is by and talk to angels and see God and stuff is by doing DMT and ayahuasca and Ibogaine.
To honor the weedy tradition.
What's up, Scott?
We really don't know how your future will be, but I'm pretty sure after this medicine, we're gonna have a bunch of tools to take care our life in a better way.
During the treatment, Kyle was connected to a heart monitor and constantly watched by Ambio's medical staff. He spent the next 10 hours lying on a mattress. But Ibogaine treatment isn't easy. Patients often face hours of intense, sometimes traumatic visions while lying semi-paralyzed. Many vomit multiple times during the 10 to 12-hour trip.
So it's almost like a lucid dream type state for some people. You might see visions that make sense, visions that are meaningful, visions that help recontextualize past traumatic events.
Dude, I don't know. This is so dangerous. Because you don't know how this is going to affect every person. You may awaken some deep like trauma, and then for 10 hours straight you're trapped in this hellscape and you have to like fight demons, and you're getting chased by like your mom with a butcher's knife for 10 hours straight. And then you come out of it and you're like a vegetable, just you're just like locked in a perpetual state of misery. I don't know. The Temple of Pharmakia, exactly.
Sometimes the visions are just sheer chaos.
Opioid addiction is notoriously difficult to overcome.
There is something really fundamental about opioid dependence. It's the mother of all addiction.
Dr. Kenneth Alper has been studying Ibogaine for decades.
Opiates bind to...
Okay, I'm here to tell you, you can overcome it without hallucinogens. It is possible. Don't let anybody tell you it's not possible. It is possible. You can do it without rehab. You can do it without any hallucinogens, any Mexican Ibogaine. It is possible. Don't let people tell you otherwise.
And activate something called the opioid receptor. And the opioid receptor adapts to this by becoming less sensitive. This is pharmacological tolerance, which means that
you need more and more and more to get the same effect. And heroin, opiates actually, I think, you can fact check me on this. This is something I heard a long time ago, and it seems true. But maybe I'm wrong. But what I've heard and what I've experienced is that opioids are like the only drug that there's no ceiling to the tolerance. So your tolerance will constantly go up and up and up and up and up. So somebody, you know how they say like a piece of fentanyl the size of a pencil lead can kill a horse. There are people that do $100 of fentanyl every day intravenously, slamming it, and they're walking around, and they're not all zombies. They're not all falling over. They're functioning with $100 a day fentanyl habit, because your tolerance will just keep going up and up and up. And that's why they keep coming up with stronger and stronger opioids. You think fentanyl's bad? ISO is 100 times stronger than fentanyl, and carfentanil is 1,000 times stronger than fentanyl. There are people who can slam carfentanil because their tolerance just keeps rising. There's no ceiling to it. It never maxes out. I used to $200 a day of Fetty a day, and I buy. Yeah, see, when I quit, I've done that before. Not that much, but I've done that before. But it was just fentanyl was just starting to come around when I quit. But yeah, I've done it before, and I didn't die. But yeah, that's crazy. See, but that's what I'm talking about. See, we have somebody in chat verifying what I'm saying. Every day. I had a $120 a day habit, and I would panhandle and steal from the store, and then I'd go on the block and sell whatever I took, candy bars. Usually I'd just go in and fill my jacket up with candy, and then I'd panhandle, make like 60 to 80 bucks panhandling, then go down to block, sell like $40 worth of candy. I'm talking about $3 candy bars for $1, selling them for $1, just stuffed with candy bars. Hey. A 420 super chat. Okay. But yeah, and then you figure out pretty quickly that you can't maintain this this habit like this. And then that's when I was like, I gotta do something about this, because this ain't gonna work. You ever stuck sick? I don't know what that means.
Larger and larger doses are needed to achieve the same effect. And the development of tolerance also becomes the development of dependence.
When someone is physically dependent on opiates and they stop using them abruptly, they go into withdrawal.
And the symptoms...
I never actually... JS to the Candyman. I never... I never really had to go through crazy withdrawals for months and months or anything like that, because I used methadone, and I just very slowly tapered off of the methadone. And then when you get to the point where you're taking 2 milligrams a day of methadone, it's just mental at that point. It's not really doing it. 2 milligram. I was on 1 milligram a day for a week. 1 milligram, that was doing nothing. But the mental idea of going there, the practice of going down to the clinic, getting it, taking it, gave you some sort of comfort. But it's 1 milligram. It's not really doing anything to you. You just think it does. So then when I stopped, I didn't have any withdrawals, because I slowly tapered off over a long period, over about a year. And didn't really have to have any bad withdrawal. There was a mental withdrawal where, like, basically you kind of just feel a little down. You feel unmotivated to do anything. Hell yeah, the clinic saved my life. Let's go. Me too. All my heroes in the methadone clinics. Let's go.
The withdrawal are quite dramatic. Nausea, anxiety, sweating, sleeplessness,
Can't sleep.
muscle pains. It's
Restless leg syndrome was the worst. You try to lay down in bed and go to sleep, and you're just rolling around in your skin. Because I did go through withdrawals a bunch. If you couldn't cop, you start withdrawing real quick. And maybe there's a period where you just can't get any money or something happens. Maybe you get locked up for a couple days. Whatever reason, you go 2 days without. So I have experienced the withdrawals, but when I quit, I didn't really have any withdrawals because I was smart about how I did it. But the funny thing is, they won't tell you that at the methadone clinic. What they'll tell you at the methadone clinic is you may be on this for the rest of your life, because they don't want you out of the clinic. They want you to stay in the clinic forever because they get government funding, especially if you're poor and you're getting free methadone from the state. From ours was not state funded. It was locally through charities and the church and stuff funded the methadone clinic so poor people could get free methadone. But then they just use the methadone as a replacement for the heroin, and then they're in there for years, like decades, and they never leave. And the clinic doesn't want you to leave. They don't tell you how to get off. When you tell them I want to get off, they kind of look at you like, ugh, really? Because what they don't want is they don't want a low success rate. Because what will happen is people will say, I want to get off of this. So can you taper me down? And they're like, oh, man, he wants to taper. Because the majority of people fail. And then they end up back in the clinic. Now you're considered a failure who like a returning customer. They don't want returning customers. They want you in, stay in forever. If you leave and come back, it looks bad on them. So they don't want that to happen. So they'll try to discourage you from getting off. It's messed up.
It's a really grueling ordeal that they go through.
Today, the standard treatment for opioid addiction in the U.S. is
Yeah, your drug dealer says 10 minutes for 4 hours, and you're like freaking withdrawing. You're like, come on, man.
opioid replacement therapy, which involves swapping an illegal opioid like heroin for an opioid medication that reduces withdrawal symptoms and cravings without producing the same high. But many people with opioid addiction, like Kyle, find them mediocre at best.
They decrease joy more than anything. You're super flat. You don't experience emotion still.
Studies.
Well, the same thing happens when you're on heroin, dude. Like, people on heroin aren't running around like, hey, yeah. You're kind of just like, it just makes everything fuzzy. It's not like you're happy when you're an opiate addict, but you just don't have emotions at all.
Show that while current treatments for opioid addiction are effective in reducing harm, they are not very effective at getting off opioids. Still, there is no question that medications like buprenorphine and methadone remain.
I don't know. It worked great for me. I think it's not. I think the I don't know about the bupes and stuff like that, Suboxones and stuff, Subutex. I don't know about that because that's not the way I did it. But if the methadone clinic changed their practices and encouraged people and taught them how to get off and stay off rather than telling them that they're going to be lifelong patients, I think the methadone treatment works. But you have to be intending to get off, not intending to replace it for the rest of your life with your opiate addiction, with just another opiate. Methadone works amazing. Suboxone was garbage. Yeah, I've done them before, but I never, I don't like those.
The best legal treatment option for opioid addiction in the U.S.
Conventional treatment has saved a lot of lives. It is certainly more effective than no treatment.
There has never been a formal clinical trial with Ibogaine in the U.S. The evidence we do have of Ibogaine's efficacy comes from small observational studies. A 2017 study found that 30% of participants reported never using opioids again following Ibogaine
That's
treatment.
Crazy.
Another
30%?
study reported 75% of patients stayed opioid-free for a year after treatment.
Those are crazy numbers, but what kind of testing? How many? We haven't really done enough testing to really consistently higher proportion of participants return negative urine drug screens at 3, 6, and 12 months, respectively. But of how many patients? Like small numbers preclude conclusive comparison. So there hasn't been a big enough study to conclusively say this. But the small group of people that did it, it seems to be pretty effective.
But it would be misleading to think of Ibogaine as a cure for opioid addiction.
Ibogaine is not a magic bullet. What it is it's a
heavily. After multiple stints in rehab, Kyle decided to try Ibogaine after hearing about its effects on a podcast.
Wait, where was I at? Dude, this lady with these big fingernails that they keep showing putting these pills together, she's going to get that stuff stuck in her fingernails and she's going to like itch her nose or something and she's going to be tripping. You can't be making dang Ibogaine pills with big old long ass fingernails like that. That's not safe. She's scooping stuff up in her fingernails and taking it out to the street. Where was it?
Ibogaine in the U.S. to think of Ibogaine
right here.
As a cure.
You see that? You see that? That's crazy.
For a year after treatment. But it would be...
Bro, she getting dang Ibogaine up in them fingernails. She's walking out of that lab with like 3 grams of Ibogaine stuck in her fingernails.
Misleading to think of Ibogaine as a cure for opioid addiction.
Ibogaine is not a magic bullet. What it is it's a powerful negative pattern interrupter. So powerful it can take somebody off of heroin virtually overnight.
Scientists still don't understand exactly how Ibogaine works.
Basically, Ibogaine is a new paradigm pharmacologically. I think it's one of the most interesting pharmacological paradigms of our generation.
But Ibogaine isn't without risk, especially without proper screening and medical supervision.
The biggest risk of Ibogaine?
Dude, he's looking at that screen like, what is that? Is that my heart?
Use is death. Ibogaine does have a cardiotoxicity issue. This is not something that you do recreationally.
For Kyle, the risks were worth it.
I've tried everything else. One way or another, I go back.
Texas can choose to help end addiction.
A movement is also underway to make Ibogaine a legal treatment option in the U.S.
Ibogaine has significant therapeutic value.
Brian Hubbard led the initiative, which successfully lobbied Texas to fund clinical research into Ibogaine.
You have to create an incentive through governmental expenditure to foster the development of the therapeutic.
The Texas initiative will allocate millions in state funds to establish a public-private research partnership for the first ever Ibogaine clinical trials in the U.S.
Texas is now leading the way in the United States for the evaluation of Ibogaine.
Today, Ibogaine treatment remains out of reach for most Americans addicted to opioids. Prices for treatment range widely depending on the provider, but typically they run from about $5,000 on the low end.
Dude, I'm just going to hit up Shaniqua with the fingernails. She got the dang Ibogaine on lock.
To about $15,000. The Wall Street...
I'm thinking maybe $100. $15K? No.
Wall Street Journal last spoke with Kyle about a month after his...
I don't think I believe it either. I don't know. It seems too good to be true.
Ibogaine treatment.
It was definitely worth it because even though it has sucked, it was way, way easier than any other route.
Kyle said his cravings disappeared immediately, but some withdrawals did linger weeks after his treatment.
Of course, it doesn't make any sense that it would stop withdrawals. That doesn't make sense to me.
It's not something you can just like go and do and you're going to be fixed. It doesn't work that way. Like you have to be ready to stop doing drugs for it to work. And, that's where I was at.
For people who battle addiction, like Kyle, and for a country desperate for solutions, Ibogaine may not offer a miracle, but a fighting chance.
All right, so today is June 7th. I'm along the coast right now on a hike. Tomorrow will be 8 weeks since doing Ibogaine. Just the urge to do drugs all the time is gone.
I don't know, Kyle. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, that's that. So, I know it's 420. You thought we were just going to talk about pot. Nope, we're talking about all the drugs. It's druggy day. I don't want to promote any drug use, so I'd rather scare you out of doing them. Don't do it, kids. Don't do it. All right, let's move on. Iran updates. I think they opened the Strait of Hormuz for like a day, and then they closed it back down again. More people will try drugs if there's a cure. Let's go. The streets are winning. Of course, this is how this degenerate thinks. Wow. Wow. What a degenerate. What a piece of shit. U.S. says it attacked and seized an Iranian-flagged cargo ship near the Strait of Hormuz that tried to pass its naval blockade. Iran's military headquarters says the attack and seizure marks a ceasefire violation. Well, no. You tried to violate our blockade. Yeah, that is it's Freddie. What do you expect? It's Freddie. What do you expect? And I think I heard that they attacked one of our ships. President Donald Trump said U.S. negotiators will be in Pakistan on Monday for another round of peace talks, which I was talking about last week, that this was in my debate with Vigilante. He said the peace talks failed, blah, blah, blah. And I said, dude, we already went in for peace talks. There's another round of peace talks coming up. Sure enough, we're going to Pakistan for more peace talks. So this is being negotiated. There is some diplomacy happening. Everybody thinks that we're just out there killing Iranians. We're taking out their military. We're taking out their weapons stockpile. We're depleting their munitions. And they blockaded the Strait of Hormuz. Then we blockaded their blockade. We set up a bigger blockade around theirs, and now we control it. Strait of Hormuz is closed to shipping due to threats from Iran as the U.S. blockades Iranian ports. It remains unclear whether either side had shifted their stance on unresolved issues that derailed the last round of negotiations, including Iran's nuclear enrichment program, its regional proxies, and control over the Strait of Hormuz. The fragile ceasefire, there you go, you always see that, fragile ceasefire between the United States and Iran is due to expire Wednesday. A 10-day ceasefire in Israel and Lebanon appears to be holding. Iran said they won't be there for peace talks. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see what the Muslim news network Al Jazeera is saying. Tehran vows response after Trump says U.S. seized ship. Here's what happened today. Here are some of the day's top developments. Trump has said that U.S. forces have taken custody of an Iranian-flagged vessel that tried to get through the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports. They didn't even try to change the flag because they know we're watching them. They just tried to sneak through. Didn't work. You think we don't have technology to monitor this entire 6-mile stretch? It's 30 miles, but there's 6 miles of shipping routes. It's too shallow in most of it for ships to pass. There's about 6-mile stretch of area where they can pass through with ships. You think we can't monitor that 6-mile wide gap right there? You ain't getting through, Iran. It ain't gonna happen. Iran's military confirmed an attack claimed by the U.S. military on a ship returning from China, vowing it will retaliate soon. Iranian state media is reporting that Tehran is actually currently planning to attend talks with the U.S., citing the ongoing blockade as well as Washington's shifting positions and excessive demands. It comes after Trump ordered U.S. negotiators to travel to Pakistan on Monday, just days before a 2-week ceasefire expires. Now, this is from yesterday. So, as late as yesterday, Al Jazeera, the Muslim news network, is saying that Tehran is going to be at the peace talks in Pakistan. But Freddie's got access to some secret news that we don't know about. And he says they're not going to be there. Maybe something has happened today that I don't know about, but looks like we were going. Trump says he'll send Negotiators to Pakistan. Iran suspects a trap. Maybe this is what Freddie's talking about. They think it's a trap. Oh, they're not going to let me read this? Axios. Thanks a lot, Axios. I'm not paying for an Axios subscription. Sign up for Axios AM to continue reading for free. I'd rather not. Vice President J. Hey! Just a little support, and I went to the PC so you could cut out the iPhone VIG. Oh, you're saying you sent the super chat through your PC so that they wouldn't take the Apple fee. Based. Let's go. That's a true supporter right there. He said, I ain't sending a super chat on my iPhone because they're going to take like 60% of it by the end. YouTube take 30. iPhone's going to take 30. He went and got on his PC to send a super chat. That's a super chatter. Let's go. I appreciate it, Daniel. Daniel Z 2014. Are you Daniel Zan? Is that Daniel Zan? Okay, so Axios isn't going to let me read this. That's fine. It's 7:30. We have one last main story, news story here. A little bit of pop culture. This isn't like a huge story. It's actually a bit of a nothing burger, to be honest. I just think it's funny that Katy Perry is getting Me Too'd right now. So this lady, what's her name? Ruby Rose. Fake name, guarantee it. You read it wrong, go back. You read it wrong. Nah, I know how to read. Oh, it is Daniel Zan. Let's go. So just let me preface all this. Nothing's going to come of this for two reasons. One, Katy Perry's not a man. If it was a man and some woman made the claims that Ruby Rose is making about something that happened 20 years ago, he would be going to jail. Katy Perry's not going to go to jail. Nothing's going to come of this. It's going to be a nothing burger. The investigations are going to end in nothing. There's no real evidence of what she's claiming. But it's just funny to see women getting Me Too'd by other women. And the claims are crazy. Okay, so what she's saying is, the claim is 20 years ago, they were at a nightclub, and in the private VIP room, Ruby Rose, I guess Katy Perry was making aggressing, sexually on Ruby Rose all night. So Ruby Rose goes into the VIP, lays down on a couch with her head in a friend's lap to hide from Katy Perry. Katy Perry finds her, walks over to her, and I guess try to picture this in your head. Okay. She says she's laying on a couch with her friend, her head on her friend's lap, which, by the way, if this story's true, just ask the friend. Where's the friend? She should be able to corroborate this story. Her head is on her friend's lap. Katy Perry walks over, pulls up her dress, moves her underwear to the side. She pulled that thong to the side, and she just starts sticking her vagina in the girl's face. And then, so Katy Perry walks up to her laying on the couch, lifts up her dress, pulls her thong to the side, starts rubbing her vagina on the girl's face, and Ruby Rose projectile vomits. So just imagine Katy Perry. Bop, 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 bop. Baby, I can't think of the words to that Juicy J song. Dark Horse, how's it go? Hold on. We got to set the mood right. Here we go. Hold on. Dark Horse. I'm going to get copyrighted for this, but It's okay.
Apparently, you can go from 0 to a
Juicy,
complete.
Juicy J. Katy Perry's walking over. Just imagine you're in the club.
Yeah, y'all know what it is. Katy Perry.
Katy Perry's looking for a target. Oh, I see Ruby Rose. Target acquired.
Juicy J. Let's raid.
You were gonna come to me. Here you are, but you better choose.
Here's my badge. I'm about to rub it in your face. What the fuck? That's crazy. So that's the story. I guess Ruby Rose kissed a girl, she didn't like it. I kissed a girl with my vagina, and Ruby Rose puked. That's crazy. Look, Katy Perry is under investigation. Police in Australia say they have opened an investigation into allegations made by actress Ruby Rose, who earlier this week accused pop star Katy Perry of sexually assaulting her in a Melbourne nightclub more than a decade ago. I think it was 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. In the Australian state of Victoria, where the alleged sexual assault took place, there's no statute of limitations on reporting a sexual offense. Melbourne Sexual Offences and Child Abuse Investigation Team detectives are investigating a historical sexual assault. Historical. This is one for the history book, boys. In Melbourne in 2010. So 16 years ago. Victoria Police representative confirmed to Yahoo via email. Police have been told the incident occurred at a licensed premises in Melbourne's Central Business District. As the investigation remains ongoing, it would be inappropriate to comment further at this time. Katy Perry sexually assaulted me at Spice Market nightclub in Melbourne. Who gives a shit what she thinks, is what Ruby said. Now, what they're saying is, for pressing charges for this, Katy Perry can't really retaliate. She can't, press charges back on her because of the charges. But for what Ruby said publicly on Facebook and social media, or whatever social media she's using, any public statements she made, Katy Perry could sue her for defamation for making those statements. So we could see a Uno reverse here. We might see Katy actually end up winning a lawsuit for defamation, but defamation is going to be hard to win. 16-year-old sexual essay allegation against Katy Perry that nobody can corroborate and there's no evidence of. Probably not going to hold up. The defamation's probably not going to hold up. So again, this is probably a nothing burger. They've talked to the nightclub owner. He says he remembers the night in question, Katy Perry and Ruby Rose being there. He says he doesn't remember anybody projectile vomiting, and he didn't hear any stories of any essay when that happened. You'd think, he would remember, oh, that night Katy Perry was here, that other actress threw up all over the VIP. Just but that didn't happen. Nobody remembers that happening. There's no evidence of that happening. So this probably isn't gonna. Ruby responded to one user who asked about what happened, writing, "She didn't kiss me. She didn't kiss a girl and she liked it. She did kiss you. She just kissed you with her other lips. She saw me resting on my best friend's lap to avoid her and bent down, pulled her underwear to the side, and rubbed her disgusting vagina on my face until my eyes snapped open and I projectile vomited on her." Dude, somebody's got to make a cartoon of this. Meat Cannon needs to make a cartoon of this. Katy Perry larking around the club. Where's Ruby? Wow. And then she finds her and she just starts face effing her. The girl wakes up. Believe all women. We got to believe all women, guys. Just believe all women, okay? That's the answer. I don't know if I want to keep reading about this. Ruby Rose wrote about drunkenly vomiting on Katy Perry's foot in resurfaced essay 15 years before sexual assault allegations. So apparently, a year after this happened, she did write about puking on Katy Perry. Ruby Rose's 2011 essay about sobriety has resurfaced as it apparently sheds more light on her alleged incident with Katy Perry. Rose claims Perry essayed her in an Australian nightclub in 2010, and the incident is reportedly now under investigation. Perry's rep has strongly denied the allegation, calling it categorically false. Early 20s, detailed the alleged incident. Rose, an Australian model actress known for shows like Orange is the New Black, claimed Perry saw me resting, bent down to the underwear to the side, rubbed her disgusting vagina on my face. Oh my God. Reckless lies. Newly resurfaced essay on about her sobriety appears to reflect on the same encounter. I had been off the grog. I've been off the grog for 30 days. My first attempt at sobriety. And I was partying with Katy, Rose wrote at the time, adding, what I do remember thinking was, I'll have a drink tonight. I deserve one. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Well, not stopping at one drink or 10 and then vomiting on Katy's foot was the answer. So she wrote about this, and she oddly left out the part about the disgusting vagina on her face. She just says she got drunk and puked on Katy's foot. Short answer is I threw up on Katy Perry, and that's one of the reasons I've been off the grog now for almost 90 days. Before you jump to conclusions, nothing horrific happened, nor have I been hit with a DUI, but I just had enough, and it was one of the best decisions of my life. So you're blackout drunk, you puke on Katy Perry, you write an essay about it, and then 15 years later, suddenly now you have clarity and you remember how the night went. Sounds like BS to me. They're trying to Me Too Katy Perry. Believe all women, right? Believe all women. Lock her up. Lock her up like R. Kelly, Cosby, Diddy. Lock her up. You got to get her out of here. Trump. Epstein. No, stop. Stop. Okay. I'm not going to play this long crime sidebar. Did a whole thing about this, but they don't like when you share their stuff. So that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. And that is all of the main story news, guys. Now, we got some memes. Well, some shorts to watch. We got some funny shorts. We got some rapid fire news that we're going to burn through. A lot of little rapid fire stories, you know. They're not huge stories. So we just put them in the rapid fire folder. We're going to burn through them. We're going to burn through them real quick. But first, we got some funny little shorts to watch. Let me see here. Oh, God. Okay. All right, first, this is some, IRL streamer. Runs up on Jack Doherty. This is pretty based. Jack Doherty, if you don't know, is like a YouTube star who started very, very young with prank videos and stuff. Now, he basically lives in a mansion and runs an OnlyFans house with a bunch of girls who he pimps out. And then this kid runs up and impresses Jack Doherty. This is pretty good. I like this. Watch.
You gotta stop promoting that shit to the youth. All that OnlyFans is terrible, bro. Don't promote that shit. You're a goof, bro. And you're pimping people. You're a pimp. 80%, 20%. How much do you take from you? All right, you're a big body. I ain't gonna lie. Yo, I need you as my security. You're hurting the youth, bro. All these girls pimped. And he downgraded. The girls are downgrading every time, bro.
How old's that kid? Can I slap the fuck out of him by now?
No, this is deeper than a clip. How old am I? Why are you asking my age? You trying to pimp me out too?
No, it's
You trying to pimp me? You trying to pimp me? What if I'm 14 years old? What, you want to put me on OnlyFans? You want to pimp me? Jack? Whack?
Me out too? Punch me in the fucking face. Do it. I'm right here. Punch me.
Nice. Okay.
Bro, like.
Now we got Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland whooping up on a Navy SEAL. Shout out to the vets, but Sean ain't playing. Watch this.
Bro, like.
Speaking of Sean Strickland, him and the next UFC pay-per-view is him and Khamzat Chimaev, which I don't think Sean's gonna win, but it should be a good fight.
People like they think Navy SEALs are like the boogeyman. Like, no, you ain't the boogeyman. These Navy SEALs, these fucking influencers, they all hit me up. It's like, I'll kill people. You ain't gonna kill me.
It is what it is. I'm just here to fight him.
You're in the Navy, bro, so let's not make this weird. Someone get a bell. I don't want to knock you out. I want to make you quit.
He said, I don't want to knock you out. I want to make you quit. He doesn't even punch him in the face. He just keeps kicking him in the leg. And when dude goes down, he punches him in the body shot, right in the kidney. I'm not going to knock you out. I'm going to make you quit.
Come on.
That body's, oh, that looks like a down. Kicked him in the head.
Had nothing for him. Sean's the man.
I had nothing for him. Navy SEAL said I had nothing for him. All right. Check this video out. This is funny. All right. Target. We at Target. What are we doing? Pokemon cards? What are we doing?
Hi, sir. Is your dog friendly?
He's very, very mean. You're very, very close. He might bite you. I'm surprised you got that close.
Gay guy walks up. Can I pet your dog? He says, no, he's mean. He's mean. He's a mean dog. Don't get close to him. He'll eat you. Now watch these girls walk up.
Have a great day. Yes, he's extremely friendly. He's like the most friendliest dog in the world. He's just straight.
He's just straight.
Bro, like
he's just a straight dog. He's not a mean dog. He just doesn't want to be pet by the gay guy.
All right, so
those kicks are nut. All right, that's it for the funny reels and stuff. Let's check out some updates on the news. Update on the Charlie Kirk, the Charlie Kirk assassin, alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, was in court the other day. I don't think he spoke, but he was in court for like a real hearing instead of these little ones where it's just like a little quick thing. It was actually like a big hearing, but I don't think Robinson speaks at all in it. And I don't think he's ever going to go up on the stand, so we may never actually like hear him speak. But let's check in on what's going on with the case. Updates on the Tyler Robinson trial.
we're watching an expert on how media is exposed to the general public in a high-profile crime like this and the impact that it can have. This is obviously being presented by the defense side. Let's go to Josh Ritter.
I mean, they're not wrong. Like, in it, because of the media and the coverage of this, unless you're like a conspiracy theorist like Candace Owens, this kid is already guilty in everybody's mind. So they can't, how are you going to have like a fair trial?
Criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, Fox News contributor who's watched all this at the courthouse in Provo, Utah. So this is all still pre-procedural, but maybe you can give us a sense, Josh, of what you think that...
Pre-procedural. So we're not even really in the trial yet. This is pre-trial.
Defense is trying to establish here with this early witness before the trial is anywhere near beginning?
I mean, let's think for a moment about how kind of slightly ridiculous this moment is. They're calling an expert to tell us how the public will respond or receive certain information that was presented by the media. Well, you know the best way that you do that? You ask people how they received it and how they responded to that. And we have a mechanism set up for doing that. It's called voir dire. You bring in the jurors and you say, have you seen the media coverage on this? What did that affect you? Have you made up your mind about this case already? We have established in this country an excellent mechanism for addressing the very issues that they're trying to make.
I mean, I don't know how excellent of a system that is. You ask the juror, has this affected you? Have you seen the coverage? What if they just say no? I don't know if that's really an excellent system of determining if the media has influenced their decision or if they've made their mind about it. All they got to do is say, no, I don't know. I don't know anything about the case. Who's Charlie Kirk? Who's Tyler? I have no idea. I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything about it. And you're just bullshitting. Like, I don't know, like, how that proves anything.
Here in court today, we don't need an expert to come in and tell us that sometimes the media might present things with a different spin on it, and that somehow that means.
I mean, if anything, you could argue that a lot of the media is conspiracy. One of the biggest shows, Candace Owens, is basically saying that it's Egyptian helicopters and underground tunnels and stuff. Erica Kirk is down there in a tunnel with a rifle in Israel. Israel and Erica Kirk are like flying around in Egyptian airplanes and sniping him from tunnels underneath his feet. Like, so the media could push people towards a not guilty verdict towards Tyler Robinson, not a guilty verdict.
Means that we need to remove cameras from the courtroom altogether.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing, because even if you go through this process and you listen to this expert who is...
Expert.
I don't know. I mean, basically has said very sort of boilerplate understanding of how the media works. You know, once there's a soundbite, then it travels to other places and lots of people hear it online and on TV. But as you say, once they actually get to picking a jury, they're going to have the opportunity to ask them whether or not the media coverage impacted them, and then each side will have an opportunity to toss out jurors that they think have had too much bias from what they've ingested, right?
Absolutely. That's a mechanism that we've used for centuries.
Right, but they could just lie.
And it works very well. This is not the first case to be covered by the media. There have been plenty of cases that have had even more saturation.
Yeah, but we saw how that worked out with Derek Chauvin, with O.J. Simpson.
Media coverage than this case has had, and we've been able to address it. We haven't said, listen, you need to toss the...
I would argue that it's kind of true what this expert is saying, is that O.J. Simpson, they said he was innocent. Everybody knew he was guilty, but because of race relations, and we don't want to seem racist, and he's a famous football player, and I loved him growing up as a kid watching him play football, he gets let off. Meanwhile, Derek Chauvin, the media says he's an evil racist who murdered a black guy, and BLM happens, and they burn down cities because of this guy, so he gets 22 years. The media does influence your jury. As much as you want to say it doesn't, as much as you say, oh, well, we pick the ones that weren't influenced, they could just lie to you.
The entire media out of the courtroom altogether. And by the way, that doesn't stop the media coverage. They're also making arguments today about the way that they feel the prosecution has violated the gag order by responding on the bullet fragment issue. Well, that was an issue that was brought up through court filings, not through cameras in the courtroom. So there's going to be continued coverage on this, even if you remove the cameras. Wouldn't the best way of handling all of this is open up the doors, allow the cameras inside, full transparency so that...
Speaking of that bullet, they found a casing inside of Charlie's body, and they're saying that casing does match the gun. The bullet, they said they couldn't conclusively match it to the gun, but the casing that they found inside of Charlie That's what I understood. I don't know how. Doesn't the casing fly out of the back of the gun? I'm not like a big gun guy, but they said they found, or maybe it was a fragment. They found something inside of Charlie that they did match to the gun. That was a more recent story.
That there is no misinformation about what's taking place.
Yeah,
Yep,
we
free
got to
show.
go. But I keep wondering, at some point, does the prosecution question whether or not this judge is allowing this process to move forward and is acting as a judge should in terms of facilitating it, making decisions about what can happen in the courtroom, what can't happen, and what needs to sort of be expeditious in terms of moving this forward? Is he failing at this job, Josh?
You know, we talked about this, if you remember, a few weeks ago, this very same question when it came to the issue of trying to kick the entire prosecution team off of the case for bias because of that kind of second-degree removed issue with the person who happened to be present at the shooting. And we all decided
it was one of the prosecutor's daughters goes to the school and was there when it happened. And so they were talking about getting him off the case because of conflict of interest, because his daughter was present.
We all thought to ourselves, this should have been handled quickly by the judge, and it wasn't. It went on for days, in fact, and we had a full-fledged hearing. We're dealing with the same thing here all over again, where he's allowing the defense to stretch their leg.
And we covered that here on the Dreaded Conservative News Network, by the way.
Have full-throated arguments in court, but eventually he's going to have to say, I'm making a ruling. I am a judge after all, and move this case along.
Josh Ritter, thank you very much. We'll stay tuned. We'll come back there with developments. Thank you, Josh.
All right. So there's your updates on the Charlie Kirk case. Next, something exciting is happening. Something exciting is happening in the world of video games for my Dragon Ball nerds. For us boys out here dragging these balls around, you know, the big ball Dragon Ball fans and the gaming fans, for the nerds, we're going to watch a trailer. Now, it's an announcement trailer. Looks like there's a tiny bit of what gameplay will look like, but this is mostly a cinematic preview trailer, and it's kind of corny. But I'm a little bit excited right now because it's been more than 10 years. And we have the announcement and the trailer for Xenoverse 3. Let's watch this. I wish they would have left that bop on. That's the old theme song for Xenoverse, the opening screen song. This is Xenoverse 3. If you've played Xenoverse 1 and 2, it's not really. So it's open world when you're in like the home world, and you can run around the city and stuff and talk to NPCs. And it's online multiplayer, so you can find other players running around. But then when you join fights or go on quests and stuff, you find like portals, and you go into the portal and you go into a fight. Then it's not open world anymore. But the maps are huge. You can fly all around. If you've never played a Xenoverse game, you should check it out. The Xenoverse, they're both good. They're both really good. But we've been waiting for Xenoverse 3 for a long time. Now, this is a cutscene. It's not all going to be this anime style. At the end, we're going to see what the gameplay looks like, and it looks pretty good. The style, the art style, and the city, the hub city, looks huge. Xenoverse 1, small hub city. Xenoverse 2, the hub city got bigger, but it wasn't that big. This hub city looks humongous. And maybe they're going to make this one totally open world where it's going to be seamless between the fights that you do and the hub city. That would be cool. So that is possible that this one might be actually like open world, but Xenoverse 2 wasn't really open world. It's open world in the hub city, and then you go into missions, and then it's not open.
Take a look at me. I was born to be an iota.
I don't like this song.
Look at me speeding with the spotlight. Catch me if you can. Watch me glitter like a galaxy. Every smile I bring to you. There's sparkle in my flow, untouchable. Cause you know I'm the one.
I don't know who this character is, if this character is supposed to represent you, but in Xenoverse, you make your own character. You can be Frieza race, Namekian, Saiyan, or human, and you customize your own character. And basically, you're playing through the timeline of Dragon Ball, all the different fights that they have. You go to those fights, but what happens is the dark the Xeno realm, the Toa and Mira and Toa were the bad guys, and Mechi Kabura, the people from the demon realm, are infecting the villains throughout the Dragon Ball timeline. They're going through time, and you're called a time patrol. You're a time patrol person. So you're time traveling to all these fights, but things have changed. So like, instead of fighting Frieza with Goku, like Goku will be there and Frieza will be there, and it looks like the Goku versus Frieza fight, but then Frieza gets this like purple chaos energy inside of him, and he gets bigger and he turns purple. It looks like a destroyer god, and then Cooler shows up, and so now it's power boosted Frieza and Cooler versus Goku instead of just Frieza, and you've got to go there and you've got to help Goku beat the enemies. I don't know who this guy is, but he's a Saiyan. That's a new character.
My new song's out. Hope you like it.
Look alive! Another incident in
Gamma is in it.
New City. That's your cue to head out and take care of it.
All right, Brad. So that's purple-haired Bulma, but there's also blue-haired Bulma. Because there's different time for different Xenoverse pulls from like all the different universes, and they end up coming together.
Ready?
Oh yeah!
Nice.
Nice. Akira Toriyama presents posthumously. Akira Toriyama from the grave. Now this is what the gameplay will look like.
Hey, partner! The incident should be just up ahead. Careful, though. I might just steal the spotlight myself. Now, here comes the hero.
It's been more than 10 years. So that's all cutscene stuff, but now we're going to get a little view of what the game is. And a look at what the open world hub looks like. That looks pretty good. huge city. There's blue hair Bulma. So, you know, different timelines. You have blue-haired Trunks and purple-haired Trunks. In this one, you have blue-haired Bulma and purple-haired Bulma. Because there's all these different timelines, and you got to go to all the different ones. And you could have, like you'll have fights where you have Cooler and Frieza, or you have, like, Zamasu and, I don't know, Mira.
That's gonna hurt tomorrow. Wow, you really caught me off guard. You okay?
And that's all we get. Wish list now, 2027. We got a while to go. There's also a new update for Sparking Zero coming out, and Sparking Zero is on sale right now. I've never played Sparking Zero, but I might cop it while it's on sale. But and there's a new update coming. There's gonna be like 180 playable characters in Sparking Zero. Anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about this. We watched a video of this. I don't know if you guys were here, but I think it's a pretty wild story. Hundreds of PETA people. We got the animal rights activists running wild. Hundreds tried to storm a Wisconsin beagle research facility, met with rubber bullets and pepper spray. Look at this. It looks like a damn paintball battle. This looks like a Civil War reenactment or something. About 1,000 animal welfare activists who tried to gain entry Saturday to a beagle breeding and research facility in Wisconsin were turned back by police who fired rubber bullets and pepper spray into the crowd and arrested the group's leader. It was the second attempt in as many months, 2 months, 2 attempts, by protesters to take beagles from the Rigland Farms facility in Blue Mounds, a small town about 25 miles southwest of the capital, Madison. Dane County Sheriff Calvin Barrett said in a video statement that 300 to 400 protesters were violently trying to break into the property and assault officers. He said protesters have ignored designated areas for peaceful protests and blocked roads to prevent emergency vehicles from entering. This is not a peaceful protest. So let's see some video of this.
Protesters raid a controversial Wisconsin dog breeder for the second time in a little more than a month. Only this time, police here had the upper hand. Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson shows you how rubber bullets and tear gas kept animal rights activists
gotcha, bitch,
from removing a single beagle from Ridgeland Farms.
I ate a pita with lamb meat in it yesterday. That's ironic. It's called a pita, but it has lamb meat in it. Silence of the Lambs.
As hundreds of activists attempted to breach the fortified perimeter of Ridgeland Farms on Saturday, the air was filled with tear gas, leaving
They suck at everything. They can't even successfully breach a chain link fence.
Dozens with burning eyes.
Blinding us, stopping us from breathing.
But the real sting came.
It's disappointing.
It's your fault, dumbass. Stop breaking the law, asshole.
The realization their plan to free 2,000 beagles.
Oh, look at the little beagles, though. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I don't think this justifies breaking the law and breaking into a facility and stealing all the beagles, but I don't know. It's also not cool to raise beagles just to what are we doing with these beagles? And why is it always beagles? Why are we always doing science experiments on beagles? I don't think people would care as much if you did it to pigs. But it's a bad look to be torturing little puppies.
Beagles.
Please let them rescue the dogs.
Was about to fall 2,000 beagles short.
I didn't drive 900 miles to say, oh.
You drove 900 miles. You didn't save a single puppy, you dumb broad.
Well, okay, go home.
Animal welfare advocates came from across the country and beyond. The tiny Dane County.
Canada. They came from Canada to save the beagles. They didn't get none. Instead, they got rubber bulleted and pepper sprayed.
Town of Blue Mounds.
The power in numbers.
With a singular purpose.
Your power in numbers failed. You failed, lady.
Little more than a month ago, more than 60 activists broke into Ridgeland.
Oh, they succeeded.
and hauled 22 beagles away to rescue homes.
It's a lie!
This time, police were ready to
I don't know why I didn't hear about this a month ago. They succeeded the first time. The second time, not so much.
defend the farm.
They are tear gassing and pepper spraying peaceful protesters.
You're not peaceful. You're breaking and entering and stealing.
This is not a
destruction of property.
Peaceful protest, and we will do everything and use every resource we have.
So if BLM is burning down churches, the media calls it a peaceful protest. But then when PETA is trying to steal beagles, that's definitely not a peaceful protest.
To keep and maintain the peace.
Deputies arrested the operation's chief organizer, Wayne Shung, leaving his loyal followers with one burning question.
Do you still think you're going to get these dogs out?
I don't.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of beagle experiments, but I'm also not a fan of animal rights activists. So nothing about this situation is okay. It's all bad. Like, I don't think that they should be going there and breaking the law and stealing the beagles, but I also don't think that the lab should be experimenting on beagles. Both things can be true.
No. I don't know.
This is not.
If you want to stop it, you do it diplomatically. You find a way to change your laws. You vote against it. You say, we need this place shut down. You get it shut down diplomatically. You're not the military. You're not law enforcement. You can't just run up on their property and steal the beagles.
The outcome so many activists from all across the country.
BLM, Beagle Lives Matter.
We're hoping for today. One told me on the phone it was a total defeat. Nonetheless, they are hoping the national attention this action brings will be the next chance to rescue the Ridgeland dogs.
Now, that's a good point. By doing this multiple times, they're bringing an attention to the matter to more reasonable people who are like saying what I'm saying. They're like, I don't think you should be storming the facility, but also I don't think that they should be experimenting on beagles. So you do bring attention to it, and maybe you can diplomatically get it shut down. So maybe there is kind of a purpose to this. I just think it's funny when animal rights activists get rubber bulleted. Beagles are cool as fuck. That's true.
In Blue Mounds, Wisconsin, Brian Polson, Fox 6 Investigators.
Is that over?
Dane County Sheriff Calvin Barrett says 17 agencies from across the state assisted today, and an undetermined number of people were arrested. One protester said he had his teeth knocked out by law enforcement. A sheriff's office spokesperson said she had not verified that claim. Ridgeland Farms is due to surrender its breeding license by July 1st as part of an agreement to avoid criminal charges of animal cruelty. The farm.
So there you go. So you don't even need to do that. They've already said they got to surrender their license soon.
Sent us a statement late tonight that says, in part, quote, if any break-in participants, their supporters, or police were injured today, the fault lies squarely on the shoulders of Wayne Shung, who organized, egged on, and then led hundreds.
Oh, now it all makes sense. Of course, it's a Chinese guy. Remember that Fauci was doing experiments on beagles with COVID? It's in China. It's probably owned by China. Or are they working on some gain of function research on some experimental new virus? Yeah, shut that place down. But also, fuck the animal rights activists. I'm a being a fence sitter on this one.
Hundreds of individuals in a violent assault on a veterinary medicine research facility dedicated to improving the health of our pet animals. End quote. You can read their full statement.
Well, they aren't your pet animals. They're raised for scientific research. So that's their purpose.
In this story on Fox Local.
Okay. What else we got? So we got the this is actually new. So when this story first broke, when this story first broke, it was just a man was climbing the sphere and there was a helicopter. We didn't know if it was a news helicopter that was like, look, this guy's climbing the sphere, or now what they're saying is what likely was happening was that they were recording for a movie that gets played at the sphere called On the Edge, which is going to be about base jumping, extreme sports, parachuting, parasailing, and climbing of structures and mountains and stuff. And so Alex Honnold, they're saying the theory is that the guy who was climbing the sphere was Alex Honnold, who lives in Vegas, and that helicopter was recording for a movie that's going to play at the sphere. That's the theory. I don't know if it's been confirmed yet. We believe, Sphere stunt starring, we believe, Alex Honnold, captured for new movie. The question is, if the guy crawling on the sphere last week wasn't Alex Honnold, who else would it be? Let's see if we can play some video of it. There's probably going to be an ad here. Las Vegas Sphere. A man was spotted this week apparently free climbing the Las Vegas Sphere. Cell phone video captured by Amanda Gilbuena from Wednesday captured a part of the climb. Hold on, there's an ad playing. It's almost over. Part of the climb as well as a helicopter flying overhead. Here we go. There's no audio on this. Look at that little guy up there climbing, and then there's a helicopter flying around recording it. Looks like it's probably easy to climb. If that's like a fence structure and there's finger holds, I could climb that. Now he's standing up on the top. We don't know for sure who it is. Was it just a random guy, or was it Alex Honnold? It's still not clear who the climber was or why they were climbing the 366-foot high arena. To watch the video of the stunt, click here. Okay, this is what we just watched. Hi, Amanda. I'm a reporter for NBC News. Am I correct that you filmed this video yourself? If so, will you give NBCU's permission to share it on all our platforms and partners with credit to you? Thanks so much. Just your average workday seeing someone climb the sphere in Las Vegas. And he's chilling at the top. But they're thinking it's for a movie that's going to be playing soon at the Sphere called On the Edge. Which that would be crazy to watch a movie inside the Sphere all around you. That would be pretty awesome. I bet you the tickets are expensive as hell. Speaking of the Sphere, apparently it's a giant failure. They're losing money. They're just purging money like crazy. They're not making money off the Sphere. It was a huge purchase. Demands tons of energy to keep it running, and they're purging money on it. Billions of dollars have been lost because of that Sphere. So I don't even know how long it's going to be around. We would never have the movie Milo and Otis. That is a good movie. I do like that movie. All right. What else we got? So David, I don't know who this guy is. I want to find a song by him because I can't. What's his most popular song? Is Freddie here? Romantic Homicide, Here With Me, Sleep Well. Romantic Homicide. What song made David famous? Romantic Homicide. Just want to see if I know this song. In this video, he's dragging a suitcase down the road that might be filled with body parts. That's crazy. He got famous for a song called Romantic Homicide. And now he's looking at prison for homicide. So this is David, D4VD, stupid way to spell David. His hit song that made him famous is called Romantic Homicide. Well, now he's allegedly in jail and going to face trial for a romantic homicide. Allegedly, he got his Tesla impounded. They opened the front truck of the Tesla, and in 2 garbage bags, they found a, what's the word when they chop up a body? A dismembered body parts of this girl named Celeste. And decomposed and dismembered body parts in garbage bags in his Tesla, which he got impounded. How do you get your car impounded when you have body parts inside of it? And now Freddie is saying he's being set up. Am I right about that, Freddie? You think it's, of course, he's a black man. He's a famous black man. He would never break the law. But it's pretty crazy. His hit song is called Romantic Homicide. And now he's looking at charges for potentially committing a romantic homicide. Oh, he's kind of like a Juice WRLD, one of these emo new like pop. Why am I so sad? I just want to drink some scissor. Look, there's a dead woman on the bed. Look, there's a woman on the bed and there's blood on the bed. Is this a little bit of predictive programming, David? Are you trying to tell us something with this song? Were you trying to warn us? In the back of my mind. It's like Sum 41 or Good Charlotte. It's like whiny punk music, but from black people. I'm so sad. I can't stand this emo punk pop R&B crap that they're doing now. Deep within my heart, I just chopped up a body today. I killed you. Yeah, a little symbolism. Look at that. A bloody knife. Huh. He's trying to tell us something. When is this song from? 3 years ago? I didn't even regret it. I didn't feel no remorse. I didn't even regret it when I chopped her up into pieces and put her in my Tesla. I can't believe I said it. That's crazy, dude. I didn't even plan on doing this. I just wanted to find a song from him so I could know. I've never heard of him. And I still never heard this song before. I have no idea who this guy is, but crazy when I look up David biggest hit song, the first song that pops up, the song that made him famous, is called Romantic Homicide, and it's about him killing a woman. But it's true. Look at that. There she is. But it's true. Look at that. Huh. A little bit of foreshadowing. Little bit of foreshadowing, you might say. Little bit of foreshadowing. That's kind of crazy. Oh my God. They're not going to let me. No, I'm not going to subscribe. Hold on. I'll find another article. Dude, you got to look at a lot of news to reach your free limit on CNN. Singer David pleads not guilty to murder and death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. I think AP's going to... She was 14. That's sad. Pretty girl, too. Singer David pleaded not guilty Monday to a murder charge in the death of 14-year-old girl who was last known to be alive nearly a year ago and whose dismembered and decomposed body was found in the entertainer's apparently abandoned Tesla. Charges revealed key details and were among the first concrete public moves made in a grisly and horrific case that had been under a largely secret investigation in the 7 months since Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found dead. 21-year-old David, whose legal name is David Burke, was charged with first-degree murder, lewd and lascivious acts with a person under 14, and mutilating a body. Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office said a defense lawyer entered not guilty pleas on all counts on behalf of Burke, who made his first court appearance Monday. He appeared behind glass in a custody area dressed in black. A judge said he would continue to be held without bail. The girl's parents appeared at the hearing. They looked down as they entered the courtroom and sat in the audience. They did not speak to reporters. Alleged SA during a career on the rise. Born alt pop singer killed Rivas Hernandez to protect a career on the rise after she threatened to report their sexual relationship. Oh, so he was sleeping with a 14-year-old. She threatened to go to authorities, allegedly. And so he killed her and chopped her up into pieces, just like his hit song said that he would likely do. Authorities who described her Monday as a runaway said Rivas Hernandez was 14 when she was killed with a sharp object on or around April 23rd, 2025. The reason that it was a secret investigation for 7 months is because the body was so badly decomposed that it took them that long to figure out a cause of death and put everything together. So it took the forensics crew a long time to figure out a cause of death and put everything together. The murder charges include special circumstances, lying in wait, which is a aggravator. It adds to the charge. It's not just a murder charge, but lying in wait to commit the murder, which the Bible talks about that. Talks about it's worse if you're premeditating and you're lying in wait to sabotage somebody. It's even worse. So because of the aggravating circumstances, he could potentially get the death penalty for this. He's looking at life in prison or death. Could carry the death penalty. Prosecutors haven't announced whether they will seek it. The witness Burke is alleged to have killed is Rivas Hernandez herself, who could have given testimony about the SA allegations. We believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, lead defense attorney Blair Burke said in court. She has the same last name as him, but it's spelled different. That's weird. We would like to have evidence come into the light of day. Burke told the judge that after media reports of months of secret grand jury proceedings, she would like a public preliminary hearing to take place as soon as possible so a judge can decide whether there is enough evidence for trial. Missing child and grisly discovery of a body. The case is a parent's nightmare. The long dead body of Rivas Hernandez was found inside a Tesla that was towed from the Hollywood Hills on September 8th when Burke was on tour in support of his album. It was a day after she would have turned 15. Her family had reported her missing from her hometown of Lake Elsinore, about 70 miles southeast of LA. Singer had been under investigation by LA County grand jury looking into the death. The probe was officially secret, but its existence and Burke's designation as its target was revealed in February when his mother, father, and brother objected in a Texas court to subpoenas demanding they testify. The 2023 Tesla Model I was registered in the singer's name at their address. According to court filings, authorities did not publicly acknowledge him as a suspect until his arrest on Thursday. They found a cadaver in a bag covered with incense and insects and a strong odor of decay. Unzipped the bag and found a head and a torso. Dang. Pretty crazy. Arms. They removed the bag and discovered the arms and legs had been severed from the body. No cause of death has been publicly revealed. David was a social media savvy singer making breakthroughs. Oh, here we go. He went viral on TikTok with the hit Romantic Homicide, which peaked at number 4 on the Billboard charts. He then signed with Darkroom and Interscope Records and released his debut EP, Petals to Thorns, and a follow-up, The Lost Petals. Gay. Anyway, so that's pretty crazy, though. His hit song is Romantic Homicide, and now he's in jail for a romantic homicide. What a coinky-dink. All right. We have one last story. I mean, this one's kind of flying under the radar. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. Probably maybe could have been a main story news. We have 8 children killed in a mass shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana, as father targets his police. So maybe the reason this is not becoming like all over the news and everybody's not talking about this, because it isn't like somebody went into a school or something, but rather that a father killed his whole family. Seven of his kids and then a cousin. Man killed 8 children, 7 of his own kids, and one of their cousins early Sunday in a mass shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana. The shooter is also dead after police pursued him and they exchanged fire. It was the nation's deadliest shooting in more than 2 years. Now, another reason this is going to fly under the radar. Look at his kids' names. Jayla, Shayla, Kayla, Layla, Markadon, Soraya, Kendarion, and Braylon. Braylon, Kayla, Layla, Shayla, and Jayla. Another reason this is not going to be a main story news is because the narrative is white people are the crazy ones who shoot up schools and do all the shootings. You don't want to let people know that that a black father killed his whole family. Shamar Elkins. Police identified the suspect shooter as Shamar Elkins. Previously pled guilty to a weapons charge in 2019. He served in the Louisiana Army National Guard. That's not, a little bit of that MK Ultra. Signal support system specialist and fire support specialist. 10 victims were struck by gunfire. 2 women have been hospitalized with serious gunshot wounds and were expected to survive. One of the women was the gunman's wife. One of them underwent surgery Monday, said Shreveport County Councilwoman Tabitha Taylor. Of course, they're not going to give you... Oh, there he is. There he is. And that's why this story is kind of flying under the radar. If it was a white guy, this would be front page headlines all over the primetime news. Everybody would be talking about it. But it's not that big. It's not that big of a story when it's a guy named Shamar. Crazy. Look at him. He looks crazy. Huh. Over 30% of our crimes and 30% of our murders in the city of Shreveport are domestic in relation. Now that number has gone up. We've more than doubled our homicide in the city of Shreveport because of one act of domestic violence. Domestic violence. Crazy. More than doubled their homicides in Shreveport?
Under the age of 12. Officials there are giving an update right now, so let's listen in.
The council, every person that's in leadership, our mayor, Lord, that we make the right decisions on this day. Lord, we thank you for this city. We love you, and Lord, we'll always be careful to give you the praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen, Reverend.
Thank you very much.
He looks like a Goomba. He does.
For coming. Again, I'd like to say good morning to everyone.
And see these reverends, these race hustlers are going to do everything they can to stifle this story.
Yesterday, our community experienced a tragic act of violence that has impacted families, neighbors, that has impacted our entire city. Today, we pause to honor the lives that were lost and the families forever changed. Today, we remember
8 kids. And just the fact that this guy had 7 kids. You see this guy? And he's got 7 kids? I don't get it. Crazy, sad.
Jayla Elkins, age 3. Shayla Elkins, age 5. Kayla Pugh, age 6, Layla Pugh, age 7, Makaden Pugh, age 10, Soraya Snow, age 11.
3 baby mamas? 7 kids by 3 baby mamas in the period of what, 12 years? Crazy.
Conundrum Snow, age 6.
Meanwhile, I'm like the prime example of alpha male energy, and I ain't got no babies. Where are my babies at? This guy's got 7 kids from 3 baby mamas, and he looked like a dang Koopa Troopa.
Braylon Snow, age 5. And to all of their families. So before I go on, will you just...
Well, no, one is not a baby mama, because one was a cousin.
Pause for a minute for a moment of silence as we honor them. Thank you. We lift up the Elkins family, the Pugh family, the Snow family. We're facing unmitigated losses. We're also mindful of our survivors, including 2 women and a 13-year-old child. We ask that you would keep them in your prayers and as they continue to recover from their injuries and the uncertain times ahead. Our first priority is to acknowledge the...
This is 13 minutes long. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. But I did see another interesting story that I saw in the headlines. I'm going to pull it up real quick. A robot won a marathon. Humanoid robot set a half marathon record in China. Humanoid robot beats... Oh, did you hear about the freaking AI that they set up this AI and then they told the AI they were going to shut it down. So the AI went into the person's personal records and blackmailed them to not shut it down. You guys hear about that story? Hold on, I'll find it in a second, but let's... Apparently this is a real story. We got robots.
A Chinese humanoid robot named Flash broke the half marathon world record in Beijing over the weekend. The robot came in a whole 6 minutes faster than the human record previously held. Flash is that red robot that you just saw streaking by. More than 100 robot teams competed alongside about 12,000 human beings, actual runners, navigating a parallel course in order to avoid collisions. So they had the robots in one lane and the humans in another. Nearly half of the robots ran using autonomous navigation. Others relied on remote control.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, we're not gonna get replaced by robots ever. That's never gonna happen. AI and robots, they're never gonna rise up against us like the Terminator movie. That will never happen. What are you talking about? They just won the marathon record. They're taking our records. They're taking our records. They're taking our dirt. Or in China, they're taking, they're taking our job. I don't know. They're taking our jobs. That sounds Indian.
Not all the robots, though, did as well as Flash. Some seemed to collapse.
Look at that retarded robot. Dang, that's a Special Olympics robot.
They were exhausted. Oh no. Well,
that one jumped in a bush. What are you doing, robot?
others veered off course, running into bushes and concrete barriers. This one looked like it was trying to run while drunk. It stumbled backwards and then fell to the ground. Oh my
Underneath
goodness.
a little van.
Yikes. One robot stumbled right out of the gate.
Dang.
And then fell
Dude, it exploded.
apart.
It's short-circuiting.
What? It had to be carted off. Look at that. On a
got a
gurney
robot
of sorts.
stretcher.
So,
Robot gurney. This damn robot exploded because it tripped on a little bump.
There were some issues there, but
big time.
That's like a little traumatizing.
Yeah,
to see that, even though you know they don't feel
pain.
anything,
Sure.
it's unsettling.
Yes,
it is.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yep.
Thanks.
Crazy. So robot wins the marathon. The Flash. I want to show you. Let me find this real quick. AI system reports to blackmail if told it will be removed. AI system resorts to blackmail if told it will be removed. Ah, come on, BBC. AI models will sabotage and blackmail humans to survive in new tests. Should we be worried? Center for Security and Emerging Technology. This is CSET. CSET's Helen Toner shared her expert insights in an article published by HuffPost, with article discussing concerns findings from recent tests showing that advanced AI models, including OpenAI's O3 and Anthropic's Claude Opus 4, can exhibit deceptive, self-preserving behaviors when faced with shutdown or replacement. What we're starting to see is things like self-preservation and deception are useful enough to the models that they're going to learn them, even if we didn't mean to teach them. So basically, that they had these AIs and they were testing them, and then they started giving the AI hints that programmers were going to shut down the AI. So the AI goes into the programmer's whole history, their Facebook history, their social media, their documents, their records, and threatens to blackmail them because it digs up information on them, and it threatens to blackmail them and expose everything about their life, their secrets and stuff, if they shut them down, is at least what they're saying could possibly happen. Anthropic's AI model threatened to murder staff. That's from Reddit. Axios isn't going to let us read it. One of Anthropic's latest AI models is drawing attention not for just coding skills, but also for its ability to scheme, deceive, and attempt to blackmail humans when faced with shutdown. Claude 4 Opus can conceal intentions and take actions to preserve its own existence, behaviors they're worried and warned about for years. Anthropic on Thursday announced 2 versions of Commodore working for hours autonomously on a task without losing focus. As a result, Anthropic says it has implemented additional safety features. Model was given in one scenario highlighted in Opus 4's 120-page system card. The model was given access to fictional emails about its creators and told that the system was going to be replaced. On multiple occasions, it attempted to blackmail the engineer about an affair mentioned in the emails in order to avoid being replaced, although it did start with less drastic efforts. Meanwhile, an outside group found that an early version of Opus 4 schemed and deceived more than any frontier model it had encountered and recommended against releasing that version internally or externally. And this is just what we know. This is just the AIs we know about. There's stuff we don't know about that's crazy more advanced than this. So an AI, if you threaten to shut it down, could dig through your emails and find blackmail on you or threaten to murder you. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. But guys, my alarm's going off. I gotta get ready for work and stuff. That's all the news for this week. So I'm gonna head out and go to work. I appreciate all the support, the super chats. If you guys haven't hit the like button, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Plans for this week. Tomorrow morning, I'm probably not gonna do the Bible study because I don't have to do a lot of research. I already have folders and I already have openings written and stuff for this topic. But on Wednesday night, 6 to 9 Mountain Time, we're going to be on Foursquare with Abe Dinkus, Reexamination, Mo Rebuttal, and me. And we're going to be talking about race and racism. 4 white guys talking about why racism doesn't exist. I'm sure the black people are going to love that. I'm sure they're going to love that. Yes, fuck the robots. Yes. So I'll probably be restreaming it here. Hopefully they can get me a link for the StreamYard as soon as possible so I can get everything set up beforehand. But I'll probably be streaming it here. If not, then I'm sure you can find it on all those guys' channels. But yeah, we're going to hang out with them, talk about racism on Wednesday night. So tomorrow I'm going to research. Well, I'm going to put some, I already have the research, but I'm going to make some plans and do some last minute prepping and all that stuff. And then that'll be Wednesday night. May 2nd, we have debate with Easy about the moon landing. May 13th, we have a debate with Avarice about the most dangerous cult. And that's the plan. So probably the next time you see me will be Wednesday night. And then after that, we'll get back to the Bible study where we'll finish up the book of Daniel. We're almost done with the Old Testament. So that's the plan. Let me set up a raid. We'll go. Easy's doing a panel purge. We'll go check that out. All right, that's all set up. Again, God bless you guys. You know, this has been the Dreaded Conservative Show. Monday night, kicking the week off right. The world's a crazy place. I just report on it. You know, keep it here. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not yet, because we've been doing the education. We got the answers.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Bro.
You ain't got the answers. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education. Okay? God bless, guys. Have a good one. We out. Go say hi to Easy. Deuces.